Welcome to Strawberry Ink, where we explore the dark shadows of history and the complex stories behind true crime cases that shape the world. Today's episode covers the tragic Uvalde school shooting, a massacre that rattled the hearts of many, sparked national outrage, and led to legal battles still unfolding as of April 2025. In this episode, we will delve into the events, the aftermath, the lawsuits, and the ongoing search for justice. It's a difficult subject, but one that must be heard, so let's begin. On May 24th, 2022, a shooter entered Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, armed with an AR-15 style rifle. Salvador Ramos, 18 years old, began his chaotic attack on students and teachers of that school. At the end of the day, 21 lives were lost, 19 students and 2 teachers, and many more were injured. The immediate aftermath was tragic and chaotic, but the true horror lay in the law enforcement response that followed. 21 deceased victims, the one predator dead, 17 victims injured by gunshots, the predator's grandma injured by a gunshot to her head before he headed to the school to shoot it up, as well as 3 minor injuries from civilian conflicts with police outside of the school. 3 parents whom were injured when trying to enter the school and had been pushed back by police officers. They were treated by paramedics at the scene for minor injuries and then went home without needing to go to a hospital. The predator's grandma, Celia Gonzalez, was taken to the San Antonio University Hospital for treatment. The shooter of the school, Salvador Ramos, had before shooting up the school shot her at her home as they had been arguing about him failing classes, as well as 3 of the students. Those 3 students who had been shot and injured at the school were in the same hospital as the shooter's grandma. The 4 of them were released weeks later. 8 students and 1 teacher died of their injuries. That teacher and 5 of those students died in the ambulance on their way to the Uvalde Memorial Hospital. The remaining 3 of those students were still alive when arriving at that hospital, but died there later that day. 26 injured victims were taken also to the Uvalde Memorial Hospital. Only 17 of them survived their injuries. Those 17 were transferred to the Brooke Army Medical Center, where they continued to be treated and were released weeks later. Those were 11 students, 1 teacher, and 2 Uvalde police officers that the shooter shot at. The predator, Salvador Ramos, died inside the school. His body was taken to the Uvalde County Coroner's Office. It was confirmed through an idea. Documents were filed confirming that he was killed in a shootout involving the Uvalde Police Department and Border Patrol officers. 11 students and 1 teacher who died instantly after being shot in classroom 111 were taken to the Uvalde County Coroner's Office. The bodies were confirmed through school records. Their deaths were confirmed in documents as murder by gunshot. Teacher Irma Garcia's husband experienced eternal sadness after learning she had been killed instantly at the school. He died of a heart attack 2 days later. Loved ones found him dead at their home. At the Uvalde County Coroner's Office, it was ruled that there was no foul play in his death. Now, let me go over the students and their funerals. Nevaeh Bravo, 10 years old. Visitation for her was held on May 31st and June 1st at the Hillcrest Memorial Funeral Home in Uvalde. with rosary sessions those 2 days. Again, on June 2nd, her Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Jacqueline Casares, 9 years old, visitation and rosary was held on June 2nd at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. McKenna Lee Elrod, 10 years old, visitation and prayer service was held on June 3rd at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the First Baptist Church in Uvalde. She was cremated. Jose Flores Jr., 10 years old, visitation and rosary was held on May 31st at the Hillcrest Memorial Funeral Home in Uvalde. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Uvalde. He was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Eliana Garcia, 9 years old, visitation and rosary was held on June 5th at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Uzia Garcia, 10 years old, Mass was held on June 25th at the Emmanuel Baptist Church in San Angelo. That same day afterwards, a committal was held at the Johnson Lawhaven Memorial Gardens, where he was buried. Services were conducted by the Hillcrest Memorial Funeral Home. Ameri Garza, 10 years old, visitation and rosary was held on May 30th at the Hillcrest Memorial Funeral Home in Uvalde. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Uvalde. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Javier Lopez, 10 years old, visitation and prayer time was held on June 6 at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, celebration of life was held there. He was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Jay Saluevanos, 10 years old. Visitation was held on June 1st and June 2nd at the Hillcrest Memorial Funeral Home in Uvalde, with rosary sessions those 2 days. On June 3rd, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Uvalde. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Tess Mata, 10 years old, visitation and rosary was held on June 12th at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Miranda Mafis, 11 years old. Celebration of life was held at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco on June 2nd. The day before, there was a private committal held there. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Alicia Ramirez, 10 years old. Visitation was held on June 4th at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the First Baptist Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Anabel Rodriguez, 10 years old. Visitation and prayer time was held on June 7th at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, celebration of life was held there. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Maite Rodriguez, 10 years old. Visitation was held on May 30th and May 31st at the Russian Estes Nolas Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, celebration of life was held there. She was cremated. Alexandria Rubio, 10 years old. Visitation and prayer time was held on June 10th at the Russian Estes Nolis Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the First Baptist Church in Uvalde. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Lila Mary Salazar, 11 years old. Visitation and rosary was held on June 15th at the Russian Estes Nolis Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried in the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Jaila Silguero, 10 years old. Visitation was held on June 1st and June 2nd at the Hillcrest Memorial Funeral Home in Uvalde, with rosary sessions those 2 days. On June 3rd, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Uvalde. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Eliana Torres, 10 years old. Visitation and prayer time was held on June 1st at the Russian Estes Nolis Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, celebration of life was held there. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Rogelio Torres, 10 years old. Visitation and prayer time was held on June 3rd at the Russian Estes Nolis Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, celebration of life was held there. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Now, I promise I'm almost done discussing funerals. I am very sorry if it's not in your best interest to listen to that part of the episode, but please stay tuned. We will get into more legal stuff real soon. Let me discuss the funerals of the 2 teachers that died. Irma Garcia, 48 years old. She and her husband had visitation and rosary held for them on May 31st at the Russian Estes Nolis Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held for them at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. They were afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. That husband died of a broken heart, but unfortunately, no attorney has wanted to take up a claim to file a wrongful death lawsuit. Eva Mireles, 44 years old. Visitation and rosary was held for her on June 9th at the Russian Estes Nolis Mortuary in West Laco. The following day, Mass was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in West Laco. She was afterwards buried at the Hillcrest Cemetery in Uvalde. Families have sued Daniel Defense, the manufacturer of the AR-15 style rifle used in the shooting, alleging negligent marketing practices. Additionally, the lawsuit also targets UPS and FedEx for allegedly shipping firearm components that enabled the shooter to modify his weapon. This civil lawsuit remains pending as of April 2025. Next, the Texas Department of Public Safety, known as DPS, has faced legal challenges from media organizations seeking access to investigation records, including body camera footage and internal communications, despite court rulings in favor of disclosure. DPS has resisted releasing over 2 terabytes of data, citing ongoing investigations. These complaints remain pending as of April 2025, and DPS has not yet been forced to reveal that data. The police response to the shooting has been widely criticized. It was revealed that law enforcement, despite being on the scene, waited over an hour before engaging the shooter. It's delay in action that led to public outcry and investigations, highlight a failure in both training and leadership. Let me tell you, being in Columbus, Ohio, the police department in this city sucks. Such stupid police officers, they take more than an hour. I literally saw this idiot police officer drive by German village, and some driver was operating without a license plate. This stupid police officer did not pull the driver over. As well, sex predator allegations are ignored, and detectives do not investigate right. Literally, the police department is filled with so many middle aged idiots. That police department should be removed, and the area should stick to the sheriff's office. In fact, I think all city police departments in Ohio should be removed, and only the sheriff office should operate, or township departments. Because so many of the city police departments I know are so stupid. Screw them. Removing them would be a save of tax money. Chief Pedro Arredondo, the head of the Uvalde School District's police, was the one to first face backlash for his failure to act swiftly. A series of botched decisions and delayed responses by city police officers on the scene caused a storm of criticism. Arredondo, along with former officer Adrian Gonzalez, were indicted on state charges of endangerment. These were the first criminal charges against law enforcement officers in connection with the shooting. As of April 2025, both Arredondo and Gonzalez remain out on bond awaiting trial. In the aftermath, lawsuits began to pile up, accusing various entities of negligence and failures in their duty to protect. The Texas House of Representatives held a meeting discussing the police response. In May of 2023, families of the victims filed a civil lawsuit against the city of Uvalde, citing the police department's failure to stop the shooter in a timely manner. The case was settled in April 2025 for $2 million. Another major lawsuit was filed in December 2022. Survivors and families of the deceased filed a massive $27 billion class action lawsuit, targeting the city's school district, law enforcement agencies, and individual officers. This lawsuit claims systemic failures and negligence contributed to the prolonged response time that ultimately allowed the shooter to carry out his plan. As of April 2025, this complicated case is still pending. But the lawsuits don't stop there. Families have also targeted manufacturers of the weapon used in the attack. Daniel Defense, the company behind the AR-15 style rifle used, is facing legal action over alleged negligent marketing practices. Additionally, UPS and FedEx are being accused of shipping firearm components that allowed the shooter to modify his weapon. These lawsuits are ongoing and continue to unfold as of April 2025. In May of 2024, another lawsuit was filed against major tech companies, Meta, the parent of Instagram, and Activision Blizzard, the publisher of Call of Duty. The families argue that these companies facilitated the shooter's access to violent content and even promoted firearm making, indirectly contributing to the shooting. This case, too, remains pending. Public records have also become a battleground. The Texas Department of Public Safety has resisted releasing over 2 terabytes of data that could shed light on the inner workings of the investigation. Even though court orders have ruled in favor of the disclosure, DPS has refused to release key documents, citing ongoing investigations, and in what some call an attempt to suppress accountability. Uvalde city officials tried to block police documents that could reveal the full extent of their slow and inadequate response. The Texas Bar Association set the families up to pursue lawsuits. As we remember the victims, the death toll remains devastating. 21 people were killed, 19 students and 2 teachers, 17 others wounded, with some survivors being transferred to other hospitals for further treatment. 2 officers eventually resigned, one of them being Arredondo and the other one being the other officer indicted. 8 students and 1 teacher passed away from their injuries, and the predator's grandmother was also severely injured by gunfire before he headed to the school. The shooter, Salvador Ramos, died in a shootout with law enforcement. His body was confirmed for identification, and documents filed revealed that he was killed by Uvalde police and Border Patrol officers. Young lives were cut short, and entire communities were left to mourn. From Nevella Bravo to Rogelio Fernandez Torres, the families and friends of the victims came together to honor their lost loved ones. The funerals, filled with sorrow and remembrance, were a testament to the lasting impact of this tragedy. In the face of grief, the families of the victims pushed for justice. Meetings were held across Texas to address the police response. The Texas House of Representatives convened, investigating what went wrong. The school board, too, called for Chief Arredondo's resignation, citing the catastrophic failure to protect students under his watch. But it wasn't just meetings that pushed a narrative forward. The Texas Bar Association guided families as they pursued those lawsuits, seeking not just accountability, but real and legal change. In addition to that, peers of Salvador Ramos claimed that he was a bully in school, and that it is unusual for a bully to commit a mass shooting. It's more common for the one bully to do so. One more case related to this involves a girl in Germany, Cecilia Valens, who faced charges of criminal negligence. Cecilia had been in contact with Ramos before the shooting, receiving messages where he openly confessed to shooting his grandmother and claimed that he was planning to target the school. She did not report these messages to authorities and even responded with indifference, replying cool. She was then officially charged with only one charge of criminal negligence. In October 2022, she was convicted of this charge in the Frankfurt court in Germany. The text messages had taken place on the Yubo app, and the shooter as well had claimed that he was throwing dead cats at people's houses. The trial had taken place in October 2022. It was a short one at the Frankfurt District Court. On the 25th day of that month, Judge Haas Dessa Jugendratz adjudicated her guilty. This judge, immediately after announcing the verdict, imposed an educational measure, and she did not face serious consequences. However, that record may affect her in the future if she tries to apply for scholarships. Cecilia had been prosecuted by German House of Juvenile Laws Director Boris Jaros, who normally prosecutes those under 21 years of age. Negotiating defense lawyer Andreasa Fritz. Uvalde was not just chaos, it was a failure of many systems that were supposed to protect the vulnerable. From police officers who failed to act, to politicians who tried to cover up the truth, to families who are still fighting for justice, the wounds remain deep. As lawsuits continue, as cries for accountability echo across the nation, one thing is clear: this case is far from over. Families, survivors, and the community will continue to demand justice for those lives who were lost. Thank you for joining us on this difficult journey through the aftermath of the Uvalde shooting. If you or someone you know is affected by this, please reach out to your local resources for support. Don't forget to follow the show, share it, and like the episode. Your support matters to me. Have a good rest of your day.